So this is the PowerPoint then for Unit 1, Task 5, and we are looking at organisation structures. So the due date has passed, so therefore this PowerPoint is only for people that haven't quite yet passed, or people that have handed the work in late and therefore really need to make sure that the piece of work handed in does pass. So your task then is to describe the organisation structure for both Tesco and Oldham Council, using the organisation charts in the Jenny folder. So how to structure your answer then? I want you to explain to me what an organisation structure is and what an organisation chart is. I want you to tell me why it's important that a business has an organisation structure. I want you to put in what is Tesco's organisation chart and Oldham Council's. These are both in the Jenny file on the student drive. So some organisations then are structured into function, product, geographical or customer type areas. I want you to explain these and give examples of the different groupings. After we've done this, I want you to describe the following terms and then apply each to both organisations. So span of control, there's wide and narrow, lines of control, hierarchical structure, tall and flat, division of labour, lines of responsibilities and delegation. So what is an organisation structure and chart? Here I've included a link to the BBC GCSE website. So this is a really good website for explaining what an organisation structure is and what an organisation chart is. So you should be able to answer the first two questions from this page and slide 7. That covers what the purpose is. So this is an example of an organisation chart. In the Jenny folder on the student drive, you'll find the organisation charts for Tesco and Oldham Council. These need putting into your work. Organisation structures then. Organisations like Oxfam, Innocent and Poundland need to be organised into a structure that will enable them to meet the purposes. So to provide famine for relief, to create excellent smoothies, or to provide bargains for shoppers. So for example, Oxfam will have a section concerned with media and public relations, another with managing its shops, and others concerned with organising famine relief in various parts of the world. Purpose then. So an organisation structure should be designed to divide up work to be done, establish lines of control and communication. For example, Innocent is organised into teams that procure supplies of fresh fruit for producing the smoothies, deal directly with retailers to organise supplies to shops, cafes and restaurants, recruit new people to work for Innocent and look after the training and development at work, and find out about customer preferences and manage promotion and advertising. So there are a number of ways then of structuring organisations, which include function. So this is what we looked at on Task 6. So this is a part of an organisation designed to meet a specific purpose, such as production, marketing, finance, customer service or accounts. Geographical area, for example, North West, Wales, Midlands, London. Product groups, so for example, a confectionery and sweets manufacturer may have separate divisions for chewing gum, chocolate, sweets or ice cream. And then there's also different ways of organising your structure in terms of the type of customer. For example, many banks have sections that deal directly with individual customers and those that deal entirely with business customers. So in banking, they will have a whole department that look after the business customers throughout the whole of the country. The people that work in this section will only look after business banking customers. They'll have their own head of department, their own line managers, their own customer service specialists and their own sales team and their own admin team. They're part of one bank, but they operate as their own department. So the bank will also have another department that looks, for example, at private banking customers. So they are people who earn, on average, over £100,000 a year. Again, they'll have their own head of department, their own customer service team, their own sales team, because even though they all operate for the same bank, they're looking at two different specialist areas, and therefore the businesses are run separately, however they're all under the same CEO. So we need to describe the following terms then and apply each to both organisation charts. So we need to look at hierarchical structure, tall and flat, span of control, wide and narrow, division of labour, lines of responsibilities and delegation. So this is taken from the BBC GCSE website. This shows you the difference between a tall and a flat organisation structure. You can either pause the video or go onto the BBC GCSE website, to do some further reading and help you with your definition so that you understand this whilst putting it into your work and explaining which one Tesco is and which one Oldham Council is and why. So span of control then, wide and narrow. I'm going to draw on the screen what this means. So you have one person that is in charge of someone. Their span of control, say for example, if this person is in charge of 2 people. So this person here is in charge of only these 2 people. So their span of control is narrow. However, if we have another person that is in charge of, say, 10 different people, then their span of control is wide. So this person has wide span of control and this person has narrow, because this person isn't looking after many other people, whereas this person has a lot of people underneath them that they need to manage. So span of control then is the number of people that individuals are responsible for in an organisation. The wider the span of the control, the greater the number of people for whom the individual is responsible. A manager who tries to supervise too many people may be so overworked that the staff in turn are unable to perform the duties effectively. On the other hand, if a manager has too few people to supervise, then the time may be wasted, for example, in explaining things to a single individual. So you need to tell me about span of control, the different types, then use your organisation charts to pick out someone in your organisation chart and tell me as an example what their span of control is. Who do they look after? Does that make them wide or a narrow span of control? Delegation then. Don't use Google and choose the first answer that you see. You need to use the business studies delegation definition. So this is when people delegate tasks to others. So it's basically somebody gives tasks and responsibility to somebody else that's usually lower down in the hierarchical structure. So for example, if someone's boss says to them, this is a task that I normally do, however, can you do it for me? That's delegating a task to somebody else, so it's giving them the ownership to complete that task. However, if you want a proper definition, go onto the internet, go onto business studies websites. Don't just use the one from Google, as I'd say about 90% of the class have done this, and it's not the correct definition. So over the next few pieces of work, I'm going to show you just some example work. However, this is not set out how I want your work set out. So you can see how this person has applied their work to the organisation structures that they were doing. However, it's different businesses and it is set out differently, but I do think that these will help you, just give you a bit of an example of what I'm looking for. Again, I will put these examples and the PowerPoint onto the Jenny Drive. So if you see, they're applying it throughout. So remember then, spelling, I want you to answer each section is pass criteria, so you can't be leaving anything out. Give me the definitions and make sure that throughout you're applying it to Tesco and Oldham Council. Tell me if they're separated into functional areas, customer areas, geographical. Maybe they're more than one. You tell me. Look at things like division of labour, lines of responsibilities. Remember to try get these definitions from a website that is related to business studies. So I've put an example in there of applying it in. So for example, so-and-so has a flat structure. This is because. And then you'd go through and talk about the chart and maybe pick a bit out and say, for example, this person is in charge of these people, is in charge of these people, and what that means for the business is. So try where possible to discuss advantages and disadvantages. And as always, proofread your work before you hand it in to make sure. Again, I want your work handed in through Turnitin with the digital receipt printed and write the percentage on. Staple your work together and put it in a plastic wallet with any old copies, if there is any. If you need any help, let me know, but I'm hoping that this video will provide you with some links and the information so that you can go and complete your work individually. Bye!